Beloved friends, within you now flows a rhythm older than time, a vibration so pure, so radiant, that once you attune yourself to it, your entire life begins to shift into a higher order of harmony. This divine vibration is what I call the God frequency. It is not somewhere far away, nor is it hidden behind clouds of mystery. It is the natural state of your own deeper mind. When you quiet the turbulence of fear, doubt, and limitation, you begin to hear this sacred frequency whispering to you in the silence of your soul. Every miracle you have ever witnessed, every breakthrough that lifted a person from despair into triumph, came because they aligned themselves with this inner current of infinite intelligence. Your subconscious mind is the receiver, and the God frequency is the eternal broadcast. When you tune into it, you are no longer living from human effort alone. You are guided, upheld, and inspired by the limitless wisdom of the divine presence within. Today, as you listen, allow these words to awaken that sacred vibration in you. Feel yourself rising above old patterns, stepping into a realm where your thoughts become creative instruments, where your imagination becomes the workshop of miracles, and where every sincere desire is fulfilled by the boundless power of God flowing through you. You are not separated from this presence. You are immersed in it. You live, move, and have your being in the one infinite mind. Open your heart, open your inner ear, tune yourself to the God frequency, and behold how life transforms into the glorious expression it was always meant to be. For when you align with God, the miraculous becomes natural, the impossible becomes possible, and the unseen becomes your lived experience. Your mind is far more than a thinking machine. It is a spiritual instrument, a finely tuned receiver capable of connecting with the most powerful force in existence, the God frequency. This divine current is constantly broadcasting peace, wisdom, guidance, healing, and abundance, but most people never tune into it because their inner radio is clouded with static. This static comes from fear, doubt, negativity, and the endless noise of the outer world. When the mind is filled with confusion and distraction, it becomes impossible to receive the higher impressions of the divine. But the moment you calm the noise and direct your awareness inward, you begin to sense a subtle, uplifting vibration, a whisper from the infinite that is always calling you toward a greater life. Your subconscious mind is the place where this connection is formed. It acts like a spiritual antenna, always receptive, always impressionable, always responding to the thoughts, feelings, and beliefs you hold most deeply. When you nourish your inner world with thoughts of truth, harmony, faith, and expectancy, your subconscious begins to vibrate in resonance with the God frequency. This resonance is the beginning of miracles. It is the moment when you shift from human effort to divine assistance, from struggling to create results to allowing them to unfold through you. Every great breakthrough you have ever sought begins with this inner tuning. Think of the God frequency as a perfect, pure broadcast of divine intelligence. This broadcast is not limited by time, space, or circumstance. It is not affected by your past. It does not judge you, punish you, or restrict you. It simply waits for you to tune your mind to its level. When you do, you begin to receive ideas that uplift you, solutions that seem to appear out of nowhere, and inspirations that guide you toward the right actions. These ideas are not coincidences. They are the direct result of your consciousness aligning with the higher order of the universe. Tuning your mind to this frequency means directing your thoughts toward the good you desire, not the problems you fear. It means choosing peace over anxiety, faith over uncertainty, and imagination over limitation. When you dwell on thoughts of divine power, when you affirm that God is guiding you, supporting you, and working through you, you activate the deepest potential of your mind. You step into a state where your inner world begins to shape your outer world with precision and grace. Suddenly, situations shift, people appear, opportunities unfold, and circumstances transform in ways you could not have designed through logic alone. The God frequency is not something rare or reserved for a few spiritual masters. It is the natural state of every human soul. You were born with the ability to receive divine guidance, to perceive inner wisdom, and to manifest the desires placed within your heart. The more you realize this truth, the more your mind becomes a clear, open channel for the infinite. You stop chasing miracles and begin attracting them. You stop fighting life and begin flowing with the rhythm of the divine. When your mind becomes a receiver of the God frequency, you discover that everything you seek is already seeking you. Silence and stillness are not empty states. They are the gateways through which you enter the higher realm of miracles. In the quiet moments where the world cannot reach you, the divine can. Most people live in constant noise, external noise from the world around them and internal noise from their thoughts and emotions. This noise forms a barrier between the conscious mind and the subtle, powerful impressions of the God frequency. But when you deliberately choose stillness, even for a few minutes, you begin to dissolve that barrier and open yourself to a deeper dimension of awareness. In silence, the mind stops reacting and begins receiving. It stops struggling and begins allowing. It stops questioning and begins knowing. Stillness is not merely the absence of movement, it is the presence of clarity. When you sit quietly and bring your attention inward, you shift your consciousness from the chaos of the external world to the order of the internal world. That inner world is where the divine communicates. It speaks through intuition, through gentle nudges, through feelings of peace and reassurance, through sudden insights, and through the quiet conviction that everything is working out. These impressions are subtle, and the untrained mind easily overlooks them. That is why silence is essential. It amplifies the whisper of God so you can hear it clearly. When you embrace stillness, you begin to recognize that peace is not something you search for. It is something that rises from within when the surface of your mind becomes calm. Think of water. When it is turbulent, you cannot see your reflection. When it is still, everything becomes clear. Your mind is the same. In stillness, you begin to see the truth of who you are, the solutions you seek, and the divine support that surrounds you. Problems that once seemed heavy begin to lighten. Fears that once felt overwhelming begin to dissolve. You realize that the true source of power has been within you all along, waiting patiently for you to quiet down and listen. Silence aligns you with the rhythm of the universe. It brings your mind into harmony with divine intelligence. This harmony is what produces miracles. When the mind is attuned to the God frequency, it stops emitting vibrations of worry, doubt, or resistance. Instead, it begins broadcasting vibrations of faith, clarity, and acceptance, vibrations that call forth the highest outcomes. In this state, you are no longer forcing things to happen, you are allowing them to unfold naturally. You begin to understand that miracles are not interruptions of natural law, but expressions of higher law, a law that you can access only in a still, receptive state. Even a few moments of silence each day can transform your life. In that quiet space, you connect with the source that created you, guides you, and sustains you. You begin to feel supported rather than alone, guided rather than lost, empowered rather than afraid. In stillness, the mind becomes a vessel for divine ideas, divine strength, and divine peace. When you make silence your daily practice, you make miracles your daily experience. Imagination is the bridge between desire and divine manifestation because it is the faculty through which you shape the unseen into the seen. Everything that exists in your life right now once existed first as a thought, an image, a mental picture. This is why Joseph Murphy taught that imagination is the creative workshop of the mind. It is the place where you communicate directly with the subconscious, and through the subconscious, with the infinite intelligence that governs all of creation. When you imagine something clearly, with feeling and conviction, you impress the subconscious mind, and the subconscious begins to move in perfect alignment with the God frequency to bring that image into reality. The imagination is not fantasy, it is the blueprint of your future. When you use your imagination consciously, you are doing far more than daydreaming. You are activating a powerful spiritual law that responds to the images you hold within your mind. The subconscious does not distinguish between what is real and what is vividly imagined. It accepts both as instructions. If you imagine failure, conflict, or fear, the subconscious sets those patterns into motion. But if you imagine harmony, abundance, healing, and success, the subconscious begins to rearrange circumstances, people, opportunities, and ideas to produce the outcomes you have impressed upon it. Imagination is therefore the key instrument through which you tune yourself to the God frequency. The clearer the image, the stronger the vibration. Imagination also lifts you out of the limitations of your present circumstances. Even if your outer life appears difficult or stagnant, your imagination can take you into a higher reality instantly. You can close your eyes and envision the life you desire, the results you seek, the peace you crave. In doing so, you rise above the facts and connect with the truth. Facts may say one thing, but the truth of the God frequency says another. Facts can change, truth is eternal, and imagination is the tool that allows you to access that truth long before it appears in your outer world. What you imagine consistently, with emotion and belief, begins to feel familiar in your inner world. This familiarity becomes faith. You begin to expect good. You begin to feel aligned with what you desire. And this shift in feeling is the point where manifestation begins. The subconscious responds to emotion, not logic. It responds to vivid imagery, not cold reasoning. This is why imagination is so powerful. It bypasses resistance and speaks in the language of the subconscious, pictures, emotions, symbols, and sensations. Imagination also invites divine guidance. When you hold a mental picture of your desired outcome, the God frequency begins to supply you with ideas, insights, and inspirations that support that vision. You may suddenly know what step to take, where to go, who to contact, or how to proceed. These are not random thoughts. They are the divine working through your imagination. The vision attracts the way. The image draws the solution. The picture becomes the path. When you honor your imagination, you honor the creative power God placed within you. You realize that you are not hoping for miracles, you are cooperating with the laws that produce them. Through imagination, you step into the realm where desire becomes destiny, and what you once dreamed becomes what you now live. Faith is the inner tuning fork that aligns your consciousness with infinite intelligence. It is not blind belief or wishful thinking. It is a deep, inner knowing that the divine power within you is greater than any circumstance outside of you. When you enter a state of faith, you shift from fear-based thinking to God-centered awareness. In this shift, your mind rises to a higher vibration, and in that elevated state, you naturally tune yourself to the God frequency. Faith opens the channel, clears the interference, and allows the wisdom of the infinite to flow through your consciousness. It is the spiritual equivalent of adjusting a radio to the perfect signal. Once you find the right frequency, everything becomes crystal clear. Faith dissolves doubt, and doubt is the only barrier that ever stands between you and your desired good. Doubt clouds the mind, weakens the vibration of your desire, and disconnects you from the divine support that is always available. But when faith becomes dominant, the subconscious mind receives a powerful instruction: this is true, this is happening, this is real. And the subconscious immediately begins aligning your outer world with that inner conviction. Faith is therefore not passive, it is a creative force. It sets spiritual laws into motion, laws that begin orchestrating events, guiding circumstances, and arranging the right people and opportunities to fulfill your intention. Faith also changes the way you perceive challenges. When you operate from a place of fear, obstacles feel overwhelming and final. But when you operate from faith, challenges become stepping stones, signals, and invitations to grow. You begin to sense a divine order behind every experience. You trust that even delays, detours, and disappointments serve a purpose. This inner trust keeps you aligned with the God frequency. because faith and divine awareness are inseparable. You cannot be in faith and feel separated from God. When faith rises, separation dissolves. Faith is strengthened through repetition, repetition of truth, repetition of affirmations, repetition of imagining the outcome you desire. Every time you choose faith over fear, you reinforce a powerful spiritual habit. Over time, this habit becomes your natural state of consciousness. You start expecting good, not by force, but because your inner alignment has shifted. You begin to feel guided, protected, and inspired, even without logical evidence. And then, as the outer world rearranges itself, your faith is confirmed by results that once seemed impossible. When your faith aligns your mind with infinite intelligence, you are no longer limited by past failures, external conditions, or human reasoning. You become a partner with the divine. You think from possibility, feel from truth, and act from conviction. In this elevated state, miracles become not rare events but natural expressions of your inner alignment. Faith is the bridge that takes you from the human level of struggle to the divine level of effortless manifestation. Your words are far more powerful than most people realize. Every word you speak carries a vibration, and that vibration sends a message directly into your subconscious mind. When you speak with conviction, clarity, and belief, your words become commands that activate the God frequency within you. This is why spiritual masters, including Joseph Murphy, emphasize the creative power of affirmations and spoken intention. Words are not just sounds, they are carriers of energy. They shape the images you hold, the feelings you experience, and ultimately, the reality you live. When you speak words aligned with truth, abundance, healing, and divine power, you are tuning your consciousness to a higher frequency that mirrors the very vibration of God. Most people use words unconsciously, complaining, doubting, criticizing, and speaking about lack or limitation. These words weaken the spirit and instruct the subconscious mind to produce more of what is spoken. But when you choose your words deliberately, you reverse that pattern. You begin to align your speech with the outcomes you want, not the conditions you fear. Speaking positively is not denial, it is decision. It is the choice to express the truth of your divine nature instead of the temporary facts of your external life. Every time you affirm, I am guided, I am strong, I am provided for, or I am aligned with divine power, you are tuning your inner being to the God frequency, inviting the infinite to work through you. Words also crystallize your intention. They clarify your desire and give it a definite form. The subconscious responds to definite statements filled with emotion. When you speak your desire aloud with confidence, you activate the creative law that begins moving all things toward its fulfillment. Your words become the blueprint, the imprint, and the signal. They send a message to the universe that you are ready, willing, and aligned with what you seek. This is why speaking your affirmations daily, especially with feeling, creates such profound results, because the God frequency responds to sincere vibration, and your voice carries that vibration directly from your heart to the infinite. Speaking in harmony with the divine also strengthens faith. When you declare something powerful, even before you see evidence, you elevate your internal state. You feel stronger, calmer, more centered. This shift in emotion is the very thing that begins attracting new outcomes. Your words lift your consciousness, and a lifted consciousness draws lifted results. Over time, your speech becomes a reflection of your inner transformation. You no longer speak from fear or lack, but from authority, truth, and spiritual certainty. When your words are aligned with divine truth, you are no longer speaking alone. Your voice becomes an instrument of the God frequency itself. Your words create, they shape, they attract, they command. And as you continue speaking with faith and conviction, your outer world begins mirroring the power you express. Living in harmony with the divine mind transforms your entire reality because it changes the very foundation from which you think, feel, and act. Most people live from the surface mind, the conscious mind, where fears, doubts, habits, and old patterns influence their choices. But when you align yourself with the divine mind, you begin operating from a higher level of awareness, one that is rooted in truth rather than appearances. In this elevated state, you realize that you are not separate from the infinite, you are an expression of it. This awareness shifts every aspect of your life because it replaces struggle with flow, confusion with clarity, and limitation with expansion. To live in harmony with the divine mind means to think thoughts that reflect divine qualities: love, peace, abundance, wisdom, and power. These are not abstract concepts, they are vibrational states. When you embody them, your inner world becomes aligned with the highest frequency in existence. From that alignment, outer conditions begin to rearrange themselves. You attract people who uplift you, opportunities that support your purpose, and experiences that reflect your inner growth. Life begins to feel orchestrated, guided, and meaningful, not because fate has changed, but because your consciousness has. Living in harmony with the divine also means trusting the inner guidance that speaks through intuition. This guidance is subtle yet unmistakable. It comes as a calm knowing, a gentle nudge, a sense of rightness. When you follow this inner direction, you find yourself making choices that lead to expansion rather than contraction. Synchronicities increase, solutions appear effortlessly, the right doors open at the right time. This is not luck, this is divine alignment. The universe responds to the state of your consciousness, and when your consciousness reflects the divine mind, the universe responds with grace. Harmony with the divine mind also transforms your emotional life. Instead of reacting to external conditions, you begin responding from inner stability. You cultivate peace even when circumstances look uncertain. You choose faith even when logic offers doubt. This emotional mastery creates a powerful vibration that influences every outcome. When your emotions align with divine truth, you emit a frequency that attracts higher possibilities. You no longer live as a victim of circumstance. You live as a co-creator with the infinite. As you continue living in this alignment, old limitations begin to dissolve. Habits that once held you back lose their power. Negative patterns fade. You start seeing yourself as a spiritual being with infinite potential, not a limited personality shaped by past experiences. This identity shift is transformative. It changes what you believe you can have, who you believe you can become, and how confidently you move through the world. When you live in harmony with the divine mind, life becomes a reflection of your highest truth. You stop chasing miracles and start embodying them. You discover that the power you once sought outside has been within you all along, quietly waiting for your recognition. In the end, everything you seek, every miracle, every breakthrough, every answered prayer, begins within your own consciousness. The God frequency is not a distant power or a rare gift reserved for a chosen few. It is the natural vibration of your soul, the divine current that flows through you in every moment of your existence. When you quiet your mind, awaken your imagination, speak with conviction, and anchor your faith in the infinite presence within, you align yourself with a higher order of life. In that alignment, you discover that nothing is impossible, nothing is beyond reach, and nothing is withheld from the one who understands their unity with the divine. As you walk forward from this moment, carry with you the certainty that you are never alone, never powerless, never disconnected. You are in constant partnership with the infinite mind, guided by wisdom deeper than thought and supported by a power greater than any challenge you may face. Every thought of truth you hold, every image of good you nurture, every word of faith you speak sends a ripple into the universe, a ripple that returns to you multiplied, blessed, and transformed. Let this realization become the foundation of your life. Choose stillness when the world feels loud. Choose imagination when circumstances seem limited. Choose faith when doubt arises. Choose divine alignment even when fear tries to pull you off course. The more you tune yourself to the God frequency, the more your life will reflect the magnificence of your inner world. Miracles will not feel unusual, they will feel natural. Success will not feel forced, it will feel aligned. Peace will not be fleeting, it will be your constant companion. You are a vessel of divine power, a receiver of infinite wisdom, and a creator through whom God expresses. Walk with this knowing, live from this truth. Let every day, every decision, and every moment be an opportunity to tune deeper into the realm of miracles. For when you align with the God frequency, you do not just change your life, you elevate your entire being into the reality that was meant for you from the beginning.